competition. And Didi, Ronnie Whelan just made a comment there at the end about, he said questions have to be asked of the manager, Pep Guardiola. What are those questions?
Well, the questions are, we saw the aggregate score 6-6. If you concede 6 goals over 2 legs, you don't have to be surprised to carry the competition. They conceded 3 at home. Again, 3 basic errors, too soft, the goals they do concede. Monaco didn't really have to work hard for their goals in the first half. They didn't have to take a chance to go 2-0 up. Thoroughly deserved to go through in the night. And it's a constant theme with Manchester City that they just concede too many goals. He's not managed to address it within the 8 months he's been there. I said it before, they kept 4 clean sheets in the last 5 or 6 games against inferior opposition. When they come up against good teams who got capable strikers, I've got to say the forward line has been excellent today for Monaco. The crosses they put in has been the most outstanding crossing I've seen in a long time. And when they come up against quality opposition, they just simply can't handle it.
Eamon, why have those issues in defence not been addressed?
Yeah, well, that's a question that Ronnie was referring to. And also the organisational side of it in midfield. I mean, Sanya was in there at times, took Fernandinho out of midfield in the first half and played him alongside the 2 centre-halves. These are basic things. And I think the problem with Guardiola, I've been a sceptic for a long time about this guy, is he maintains and has said explicitly that defending doesn't really interest him. What he's interested in is attack. He said it in this morning's newspapers, if you like. It's the only way, I'll never change. And he's gone on with that, the passing out from the back at the start of the season, with Bravo, the goalkeeper, which everyone has cottoned on to. That he said is not up for questioning. That's it. I'm not changing my principles. And since he's been at Barcelona with a great team, the greatest team maybe ever, Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, wonderful players. Since he's been there, the notion that he is a genius coach that is reinventing football has caught hold of a lot of people who are analysts or commentators on football. And he went to Germany and he didn't manage a team. He took over a team that Jupp Heynckes, the previous manager, had won the treble, the Champions League, the German Cup and the Bundesliga. And he couldn't emulate that. And they were hammered, actually, in the semi-final of the Champions League by Real Madrid, wasn't it? I think 7-0 or something on aggregate. He didn't really do anything at Bayern Munich that Ancelotti will probably emulate about 7 or 8 points in the league, aren't they? He didn't do a lot there. And he's come to England, and the message all through the summer was, it is great for the game, and I think it is great to have great coaches and interesting people. But the idea was that he'd teach us something. And I think he needs to learn something. And what he needs to learn is what we pointed out before the match. He's been there 8 months and he hasn't taught John Stones the basics of defending. The winning goal tonight is a classic example of a shambolic defence being exposed. That's his fault. He is the coach. The structure, organisation and personnel, it's all his responsibility. So, they're the questions that Ronnie's referring to, and everybody who loves football, who cares about football, who thinks about football, needs to ask themselves, is Pep Guardiola the new Messiah? That is the hype that's in the paper. And every time you criticise him, you have to duck. But
why?
Because there's lots of people who will pull out a statistic. It happened in the studio once when I was criticising the lack of defence.
Yeah.
And you guys pulled out a stat that said Barcelona and Bayern Munich had the best defensive records in their respective leagues all the time he was coaching. Of course they did, because they were the strongest team in the league and they were winning all the time. And there wasn't much opposition. But it's not happened in England, and he needs to use the resources they have to buy quality defenders, because he hasn't got any. And John Stones, he paid 50 million for, was at fault tonight for 2 goals. Now, we aren't talking after time. We highlighted John Stones before the programme.
Yeah.
And there's a balance in football that you need to achieve if you're a great coach. To have a great team, you need great forwards and you need great defenders. And to say, as he does, to maintain that the defensive side of the game is secondary or not all that important is outrageous. And tonight proves it.
Damien, what's